Welcome to 2026. The world of luxury goods has become a tricky place. The fakes are getting smarter, faster, and more convincing than ever before. You might hold two bags, one real, one fake. At first glance, they look identical. The shape is right. The color is perfect. The logo seems spot on. It is easy to feel confused. It is easy to think there is no way to tell the difference. But that is where you would be wrong. No matter how good the copy, counterfeiters always leave clues behind. They are small, they are subtle, they are always there. It's not a magical eye for detail. It's about knowing where to look. Real luxury is built on consistency. Patterns repeated perfectly, thousands of times. Counterfeiters focus on speed and appearance. They cut corners. They make tiny mistakes. Once you learn to see these mistakes, you will never unsee them. This guide is your new set of eyes. It teaches simple, clear checks to verify authenticity. No more guessing. No more hoping. Think of it like learning a new language. At first, sounds are noise. Then you recognize words, then sentences, then the rhythm. Spotting fakes works the same. Don't look at the whole product at once. It's overwhelming. Break it down into small parts. We will look at the stitching. We will examine the hardware. We will feel the leather. Each element tells its own story. By the end, you will read that story and instantly know if it's real or fake. The very first place to look is often the most overlooked: the stitching. Before you check the logo, before you feel the leather, just look at the seams. A genuine luxury item is built with precision. The stitching is its skeleton. On a real designer piece, the stitches will be perfectly even. They will be the same length, the same distance apart, and perfectly straight. The thread itself will be high quality, with no fraying or loose ends. Think of it as a machine that has been calibrated to do one thing perfectly, over and over. That is the mark of a brand that invests in its craft. Now, let us look at the counterfeit. The goal of a fake is to look good from a distance. Up close, the story changes. The stitching on a fake is often messy. You might see stitches that are crooked, uneven in length, or spaced erratically. You might find double stitching in places where there should only be a single line, a clear sign of a mistake being corrected hastily. The thread might look thin, shiny, and cheap. Sometimes you can even see tiny knots or the beginning and end of a thread poking out. These are the telltale signs of a rushed job, where quantity is far more important than quality. Here is a simple test you can do anywhere. If you have the item in your hands, look at a 1-inch section of the seam. Count the stitches. On many high-end bags, for example, a specific model will always have the same number of stitches per inch. A Louis Vuitton Speedy, for instance, has a known stitch count on its handle tabs. Now compare that to a photo of a guaranteed authentic item from the brand's official website. If the count is off, or if the stitches look sloppy and inconsistent within that 1 inch, you have found a major red flag. It is a simple, mathematical check that counterfeiters often fail. So, your first check is always the stitches. Do not just glance at them, inspect them. See them as a measure of the time and care invested in the product. Authentic brands pride themselves on this foundational detail because it represents the integrity of their entire process. The fake maker, on the other hand, sees stitching as just a way to hold two pieces of material together. They do not have the time or the machinery for perfection. They are counting on you not to look this closely. From now on, you always will. This single check can often expose a fake in under a minute. After the stitching, your eyes should move to the branding itself. This means the logos, the heat stamps, any debossed text. This is where counterfeiters put a lot of effort, but it is also where their limitations become incredibly clear. A real brand has a die, a mold for its logo. That die is perfect. Every curve is smooth. Every angle is precise. Every letter is spaced correctly down to the millimeter. When this logo is stamped into leather, it creates a clean, crisp impression with even depth. The letters are clear and legible, not blurry or smudged. It looks professional because it is. In contrast, fakes often get the logo almost right. Almost is the key word. Look closely at the letters. Is the O in Dior perfectly round, or is it slightly oval? Is the accent in Hermès correct and flat, or is it slightly off? These tiny font details are what fakes often miss. The heat stamp itself can be a dead giveaway. On a fake, the stamp might be too deep or too shallow. It looks painted on rather than pressed in. The pressure is inconsistent. Here is your second simple test. Find the main logo or heat stamp on the item. Take a picture with your phone and zoom in as far as you can. Open a new browser tab and find the same logo on the brand's official site. Put them side by side. Do not look at the whole logo. Look at one letter at a time. Compare the thickness of the lines. Look at the negative space inside letters like O or P. Counterfeiters often use a slightly different font, or they get the spacing wrong. The zoomed-in image will reveal fuzzy edges, uneven depth, or slight imperfections in shape. Remember, a brand's logo is its signature. It is protected by trademarks and is a core part of its identity. The machinery and dyes used to create these logos are custom-made and expensive. Counterfeiters work from a photograph or a scan, not the original tool. Their copies will always have small errors. They might get the size right, but fail on the font. They might get the font right, but fail on the spacing. Now it is time to use your other senses. Really? The look of an item is one thing. The feel and even the smell of it can tell you so much more. Luxury brands are known for their exquisite materials. Italian calfskin, supple lambskin, durable coated canvas. Real high-quality leather has a life to it. It has a subtle, varied grain that is not perfectly uniform. You might see tiny, natural imperfections because it came from a real animal hide. It feels rich and substantial in your hands. It is soft, but strong. Fake materials, on the other hand, are all about cutting costs. The most common substitute for real leather is polyurethane, often called pleather. Pleather can look very convincing at first glance, but it feels wrong. It often feels stiff, plasticky, or sometimes even sticky. The grain pattern on fake leather is often too perfect because it was pressed onto the material by a machine. If you look closely, you will see the same pattern repeating over and over again, a huge red flag. Nature is random. Machines are repetitive. Let us talk about the metal. The hardware on a luxury item, zippers, clasps, buckles, chains, feet, is like the jewelry on an outfit. It is a critical finishing touch, and for authentic brands, it is never an afterthought. Real hardware is custom-made for the brand. It feels heavy and substantial because it is typically made of solid brass or another high-quality metal, which is then plated in gold, palladium, or another precious material. The finish is smooth and consistent, with no ripples, no bubbles, or signs of chipping. Any engravings on the hardware, like the brand name, will be sharp, clean, and perfectly centered. Counterfeit hardware is where you see a massive drop in quality. To save money, fakers use cheap, lightweight metals like zinc alloy or even plastic that is coated to look like metal. Hold the item. Does the zipper pull feel cheap? This lack of weight is one of the most immediate signs of a fake. The finish on fake hardware is also a major issue. It might look too shiny, almost like a toy, or it might have a dull, uneven coating. Over time, this cheap plating will quickly chip, flake, or tarnish, revealing the cheap metal underneath. The zipper test is one of the most satisfying and revealing checks you can perform. Find the main zipper on the bag or garment. Now slowly and deliberately zip it open and closed. A high-quality zipper from a reputable manufacturer like YKK or Riri will be incredibly smooth. It will glide effortlessly without snagging, catching, or feeling gritty. It will sound and feel solid. A zipper on a fake, however, will often feel rough. It might catch on the teeth, feel wobbly, or make a scratchy, tinny sound. It feels cheap because it is. So, Pay close attention to the metal parts. Feel their weight. Examine their finish under a bright light. Look for clean, precise engravings. Test the function of every single piece of hardware, especially the zippers and clasps. Do they open and close with a satisfying, solid click, or do they feel weak and insecure? A luxury brand views its hardware as a crucial component of the user's experience and a reflection of its quality standards. A counterfeiter sees it as just another visual element to copy as cheaply as possible. The difference in weight, feel, and function is a gap they rarely manage to close. Luxury mistakes are expensive. Subscribe before your next purchase. Focus on small, consistent patterns and bypass the counterfeiter's best tricks. By now, you have checked the core components of the item itself. But the story does not end there. The supporting materials can provide powerful corroborating evidence. Serial numbers, authenticity cards, dust bags, boxes. Many luxury brands use serial numbers or date codes to track their products. These codes follow a very specific format. A Hermès bag, for instance, uses a blind stamp tied to specific years and artisans. Wrong digits or the wrong font are fake. Authenticity cards are widely misunderstood. A plastic card alone doesn't prove authenticity. Cards are actually easy to fake. Common mistakes: wrong font, poor spacing, cheap plastic. Other mistakes: blurry printing, hologram that doesn't reflect correctly. Never trust the card alone. Treat it as one piece of the puzzle. Does the card font match the heat stamp? Consistency is everything. Packaging is also a strong indicator. Real dust bag, thick cotton flannel, crisp logo. Fake dust bag, thin synthetic, blurry or off-center logo, plastic texture. Real box, sturdy, sharp corners, perfect printing. Fake box, weak feel, slightly off color, misaligned logo. Good fakes can have good packaging. Bad packaging almost always means bad product. Extras are supporting characters, not the star. Perfect item plus sloppy packaging, shots, suspicious. Sloppy item plus perfect packaging, shots, still fake. Primary focus: the product, stitching, hardware, materials. Then check codes, cards, packaging for the same story of quality. If packaging details are as sloppy as the product, walk away. Luxury mistakes are expensive. Subscribe before your next purchase. The promise is simple. We have covered a lot of ground, so let us bring it all together into a clear, actionable plan. In 2026, spotting a fake is not about a single aha moment. It is about a calm, methodical process of verification. It is about building a case, piece by piece, until the conclusion is undeniable. The most important rule is this: trust the patterns, not the price, not the seller's story. A deal that seems too good to be true almost always is. A seller who pressures you to buy quickly is hiding something. Your best defense is your own careful, patient inspection. Here are the 6 clear checks to perform every single time. First, inspect the stitching. Is it even straight and clean? Second, examine the logo and stamps. Are the font, spacing, and depth perfect? Third, feel and smell the materials. Does it feel and smell like quality or like plastic? Fourth, test the hardware. Is it heavy, smooth, and precisely engraved? Fifth, check the serial numbers and codes. Does the format match the brand's known patterns? Sixth, look at the packaging and extras. Do they reflect the same quality as the item itself? If an item fails even one of these core tests, proceed with extreme caution. There are also quick red flags that should immediately raise your suspicion. Uneven or sloppy stitching. A logo that looks off in any way. Hardware that feels light or flimsy. A strong chemical smell. A price drastically lower than established market value. Another major red flag: a seller unwilling to provide clear, close-up photos of specific details. If they refuse to show you the stitching, the heat stamp, or the hardware up close, they know these areas will expose a fake. Transparency is a hallmark of a legitimate seller. Your clear next step is to practice. The next time you are in a department store or a luxury boutique, take a moment to really look at an authentic item. Feel its weight. Study the seams. The more familiar you become with the real thing, the more quickly a fake will stand out. Do not guess. Do not rely on a gut feeling alone. Use the simple, pattern-based checks we have discussed. In this sophisticated market of fakes, knowledge is your shield. Therefore, subscribe to our S&R Smart Shoppers channel today and have the edge to authentic guides and information. Subscribe now and follow for more. Once you learn to see the small, consistent details of true luxury, you will never be able to unsee them, and you will never get burned again.